Gensler testifies today. We'll be talking about that and much, much more on today's episode of Sin City Crypto. If you're new here, welcome. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts. We are an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take the old, boring, stale, redundant information. We make it fun, engaging, exciting. I am excited. Today is a good day. Gary Gensler is getting grilled.
Yeah.
I grilled last night some salmon. It was delicious. And I got my boy Forrest with me here. Rocco, let's bring him in. Forrest, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on as usual.
Hey, man. Thank you for joining us. It's been an amazing 2 weeks with you, my friend. Like we bonded a lot, you know? I don't know how I'm ever going to receive Robin back, but all jokes. I'm just kidding.
I'll help you out.
Oh, thanks. Of course, Rocco will help me out. Guys, we have a lot to talk about today, so let's get right into it. First, we do want to thank channel sponsor, Cam's Blue Wire Technology. Today's 4K stream is made possible by them, as they have helped us work through all of our networking, IT, and cybersecurity issues to allow us to bring you this crisp and clear 4K stream. If you want the same for your business, visit bluewiretech.com or click the link in the description of this video. Also, shout out to Radix, the top layer 1 DeFi in our space. They are a sponsor of this channel, Radically Better DeFi. If you want to learn more about their ecosystem, what's going on with the network, the big Babylon upgrade is happening in the next 12 to 24 hours. We'll be covering that as it happens, so super excited about that. So big thank you to Radix. Also, I woke up this morning and I was reminded that old Gary is testifying, but not in front of the Senate. I feel like the Senate takes it easy on him. It's the House of Representatives, or Tom Emmer, Patrick McHenry, Richie Torres, Warren Davidson. And a lot of people I never even knew of are starting to pile in on Gary. And so this was my mood this morning.
What's going on with you?
Man, what a good day today was. Anyways, we also have this. We need audio on this one.
Okay.
This is a good one.
Please, it's pouring outside. Let me in, Maria.
No, you're literally disgusting. Take your stuff and leave.
Maria, what did I do wrong, Maria? I didn't do anything wrong.
No, you're a disgusting cheater.
I cheated on you in your dreams.
With my sister.
It's not my fault. Maria, please, it's pouring outside.
It's not his fault.
Have you ever had a crazy relationship like that, Forrest?
Yeah, that's unfortunate for that guy.
Poor guy. Let him in inside. At least let it wait till it stops raining. God, it wasn't his fault. It was just a dream, okay? Then we have this tweeted from Wolf of Wall Street's crypto in 2022. Just let the bears do what they're doing. Don't look. Just let the bears drive the price down. It's okay. And yeah, so I'm not going to play the whole thing here, but it was kind of funny.
You should get the car.
It was scary.
This was funny. So this is Congressman Andy Barr.
It's not a meme. Is it a meme? No.
This is funny. Listen to this.
Mr. Chairman, I really liked your colorful testimony. And you're right, we are blessed with the largest, most sophisticated, most innovative capital markets in the world. But we cannot take this for granted. Even a gold medalist must keep training. With all due respect, Mr. Chairman, if the U.S. capital markets are a gold medalist, you are the Tanya Harding of securities regulation because you are kneecapping the U.S. capital markets with the avalanche of red tape coming out of your commission.
Oh, man. So for those of you who don't know who Tanya Harding is, okay, back in 1994, so she was a famous figure skater, okay? Ice skater.
The movie, yes.
So in the 90s, she attacked her competitor. So she kneecapped. She hired, I believe it was her husband, when Nancy Kerrigan was coming off her practice. They hit her with a pipe in her knees to not let her compete in the Olympics. And so he makes the reference, if the U.S. capital markets are the gold medalists, you, sir, are Tanya Harding, you kneecapping the industry. So I thought that was absolutely hilarious. So we have this. I want to share an update about Rob. I know a lot of you have been asking about him. So he tweeted this yesterday. Still stuck at the hospital, feeling better. My boy David brought me this Lambo Lego set to put together. I hope to be back on the show soon. There's a few comments on here about,
I definitely suggest to read the comment.
about, anyways, I'll leave it at that as far as not signing your Lambo away. Guys, I want to make it clear. It was just a coincidence. Robin said, get me something that's got a lot of pieces. So I'm looking around Walmart.
A broken glass. You can have a broken
I'm like, I ain't trying to spend more than $50, okay? Because I'm not going to ask him for the money back. So this is on me, bro. All right? So I'm like, all right, $50 is my budget. What is the most I can get for $50? I'm looking, all the highest pieces are like Disney and little girl stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to embarrass my friend here. And so I saw a Lambo, 800 pieces, $50. I bought it. Had nothing to do with
There
whatever's
was no
going on.
Jaguar, no Ferrari, no other.
They had a
brand,
Ford GT, but
Citroen. whatever,
no
Alfa-
no
a
Fiat either,
Fiat,
no.
Nothing. Okay.
there was a Ford GT, but that was $150.
Tesla,
I was not
nothing.
doing it.
Just the Lambo. Okay.
So guys, I did go visit Rob in the hospital yesterday. He is doing better, just waiting on a few more tests, but then we'll be able to send him home. And so we look forward to bringing him on the show as soon as he is ready. Who is ready to delay? That is none other than Gary Gensler. So this is from Eleanor Tourette yesterday. They just delayed two of the spot ETF filings, the ARK Invest and the Global X ETF Bitcoin spot. This wasn't due until October 7th. And so they're a solid 2 weeks, close to 2 weeks, 10 days before they even needed to make a decision. And they made a decision to delay. I know a lot of people are pointing to the looming government shutdown. You might be asking, well, how is the government going to shut down if there's no budget or if there's no debt ceiling? That is true. There is no debt ceiling, but they still have to decide how that money is appropriated. And so that is what the fight is over. And so, Forrest, do you kind of agree with that? Or do you think this is a strategic move by, I know we're just speculating here. This was a strategic move by Gary to delay it prior to going in front of Congress today and testifying.
I think it could be a little bit of saying, kind of him giving the middle finger to Congress, as well as the letter that they received. I don't know if you have that one at all, but the letter they received from a bipartisan group that was urging him to accept the Bitcoin ETFs immediately. This is interesting because the government shutdown or the threat of a government shutdown does actually give him kind of the perfect cover, the perfect excuse to go in, do a sweeping delay this week, by the end of the week. And, even the ones that we wouldn't expect an answer on until October 16th, and just say, well, we're just going to delay these because look, all of our employees are potentially going to get furloughed. And it just gives him the golden excuse. So if we do get these delays early, look, honestly, between that and a possible government shutdown, and you see the S&P 500 bleeding, it's not looking great. It really isn't. It's tough to make this look bullish in the short term, but I guess we just have to wait and see what happens.
That is why I believe if you're in crypto and you're not in it just to swing trade or day trade, which is fine if you are, you need to expand your time horizon from days, weeks, and months to years. And so once you do that, guys, the time horizon will set you free. Also, guys, if you are new here, please say hello. We got 112 viewers, only 48 likes. If you don't like me, I understand. Okay? My own mom doesn't like me. All jokes aside, guys, hit the like button. Let's get the stream out here, all right? We're putting in a lot of time. A lot of money has gone into the studio. We need your help. Let's get the word out of our show. And the way we do that is you like the video. It tells the algorithm you like it. You comment in the chat. You stay active. We appreciate you. Also, if you're new again, say hello. We'd love to welcome you. Now, let's move on to this piece of news. So we have this, came out yesterday. Just in, 4 U.S. congressmen demand SEC Chair Gary Gensler to approve a spot ETF immediately. I do want to note, 2 of these congresspeople are Democrats and 2 are Republican. So this is becoming a bipartisan issue. I love the fact that we're seeing more and more people from both sides of the aisle start to question what the hell Gary Gensler is exactly doing. Now, will he listen? Probably not. And there's a reason I say that, because we have evidence from today's hearing. Gary Gensler just doesn't like listening to what the people that are supposed to oversee his body of government, he just doesn't care what they have to say. He doesn't even care what judges have to say. Now, taking a break from Gary before we go back to this man, I want to share this tweet from Forrest. In the event of a large drawdown in SPX accompanied by elevated oil prices, bidding risk assets around 200 days after oil prices peak has been a winning strategy. Forrest, what do you mean by this? Are you giving us some alpha here? Are you what just can you please explain this, because I thought this was very interesting.
Yeah, so I've for quite a while now been looking at oil and energy as a hedge against financial collapse, or the S&P 500 seeing a recession. And the reason being is because the enemy that we are quote unquote fighting right now, and that the Fed is fighting, is inflation. But what is one of the most highly correlated charts with inflation? And what is one of the best leading indicators of inflation? That's oil prices. Why? Because oil is in everything. The contrary to popular belief, the world does not run on Dunkin'. The world runs on oil, right? So what you'll oftentimes see is these elevated oil prices can take time to play out, and elevated oil prices raise prices not only for consumers and put strain on the economy, but it also elevates prices for companies and puts strain on the economy. So by the time oil prices peak, you're going to see it maybe takes 6+ months for this to at least historically it's taken 4, 5, 6, 7+ months for the declining oil prices to start to leak into improved economy, or result in an improved economic outlook. And the same thing for what we're seeing right now. Oftentimes, you'll see those oil prices rise in conjunction with a top, right? A decline in the S&P 500. And that's what we saw. We saw, oil prices reach $120+ a barrel. And as we were climbing over $100 a barrel, that's when the S&P 500 was peaking towards the end of 2021 and beginning of 2022. So yes, definitely a chart to be paying attention to. If nothing else, just know that high oil prices are going to put strain on the economy. You want low and stable, low and stable oil prices. You don't want a lot of volatility, but you don't want free oil. Like we saw it with the COVID crash, because that obviously was leading to concerns of deflation. But you want stability in the oil market. It's not something that we've had for a while.
Yeah, and I foresee us seeing a lot more volatility because OPEC continues to cut their daily oil production. I believe it's now up to 4 million barrels a day that they're cutting. This is all the while the U.S. government is trying to refill their SPR, their Strategic Petroleum Reserve, because they drew down on it when originally, after we came out of the pandemic, gas prices started going up. Well, they drew from that, and now they're stuck in a position where they got to refill it, but OPEC keeps cutting. It's a game of chess on a global level, and so it's something that is out of my realm of expertise. And so with that being said, I do want to share a couple of clips from today's hearing. Let's start here with Chairman Patrick McHenry coming out the gate in his opening statements to Gary Gensler.
Our patience is wearing thin. The SEC is not above the law, nor is it unique. Other financial regulators have routinely complied with congressional oversight. So let me be clear. I do not want to be the first chairman of this committee to issue a subpoena to the Securities Exchange Commission. And you should not want to be the first SEC chair to receive a congressional subpoena. Either we find a path forward where the SEC recognizes Congress as a co-equal branch of government and is responsive to our oversight duties, or my option is to issue a subpoena. It's time for you to consider the lasting consequences of your actions. Our patience is wearing thin.
Interesting. Interesting little threat there. Do you want to be the only SEC chairman to get subpoenaed? We do have this. This was kind of refreshing coming from Mr. Gensler, as he finally answered a direct question with kind of a direct answer. And well, here he is.
Gensler, last time we were here, I asked you about Ether. In 2018, you say that Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash are not securities. So I want to focus today on Bitcoin. Why do you believe Bitcoin is not a security?
Thank you, Chair. And I think you're referencing remarks I made as a professor at MIT. And as I wrote in that paper at that time, it was really about something called the Howey test. And the Supreme Court, it's the law of the land, talks about if the public is anticipating a profit based on the efforts of others. And as I think I noted in that paper back in 2018, I didn't see that Bitcoin
But your view on Bitcoin, you've made comments on this. You believe Bitcoin is not a security. Is that true?
Well, I think the staff of the SEC have also, and the prior
Well,
chair.
I'm just asking you this question, and this is not a gotcha. I thought there was going to be an easy softball into harder questions. Do you think Bitcoin is a security?
I think I've said this in the past that I think that it doesn't
I'm asking
meet
you
the
to
Howey
answer
test.
my question now. This is not supposed to be hard.
I know. I said it
Just
does
answer-
not meet the Howey test, which is the
Okay.
law of the land about
There it is.
getting
So
investment
it doesn't meet the
contract
Howey
and
test.
security.
So therefore, it's a commodity. Is that fair?
I would say it's not a security, and then the test is otherwise for other
Okay.
laws.
Well, the CFTC says they don't have the authority over Bitcoin and digital commodities. Do you think legislation is necessary to protect consumers?
We'll stop it there. Finally, he said it. I know thank you. Round of applause for Mr. Gensler. Bitcoin is not a security. Forrest, any thoughts on a couple videos we just talked about here?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously the one where he's threatening him with a subpoena, that I will say might light a fire underneath him to get these Bitcoin. I mean, I think everyone views these Bitcoin ETFs, spot ETFs, as an inevitability. Like, we do think that they are going to get approved. The question is whether or not they get delayed. Now, hopefully that threat of a subpoena, like, I don't care who you are, how squeaky clean you are, and I don't think Gary Gensler's squeaky clean. You don't want an but you just don't want people. It's like, even if, you get pulled over and for speeding and you don't have anything bad in your car, you still don't want to let the cops search your car because you just never know. They plant evidence or whatever. Nobody wants their personal lives or anything rooted through or dug through. And I don't think Gary Gensler is any exception to that. So maybe this is maybe that threat is what pushes him to push for these Bitcoin ETF approvals on October 16th. We can only hope, assuming the government's not shut down on October 16th, which that would be its own separate problem. If the government shuts down on October 1st and is still shut down on the 16th, we've got bigger fish to fry than the Bitcoin ETF, I think. But no, I love to see Gary Gensler getting grilled because it's at least there's the rest of the world or the other branches of government aren't complicit or complicit in this attack on crypto, which is refreshing to see.
I think as we get, and I know a lot of people like, he says the same things, but I feel like as we have more and more of these hearings, you get people that were kind of not really people on the committee from either Democrats or Republicans that were either disinterested, couldn't really care less, didn't understand, thought Gary's doing a good job. He's continuing to come in front of these committees, not answer questions, not respond to emails, not respond to requests from the committee that's supposed to oversee the regulator, which is the SEC. I think more and more people are going to start to catch on, and we're seeing that. I saw more questions from people that I've not seen ask questions about crypto and digital assets on today's hearing than the last hearing and the one before that and the one before that. So I do think it might not seem like it, but I do think we're making progress. And what we need essentially is enough pressure from enough people. If it's only 4 or 5 or a handful of people who are pressuring Gary Gensler to do the right thing and do his job and stop essentially putting up roadblocks for our industry, then we're not going to, nothing's going to come out of it. But if there's 20, 30, 40 people, those voices get louder. And hey, maybe, just maybe, that'll either move Gary Gensler to do something or that'll entice people to vote to get him out of there. And so we'll see how that plays out. we'll kind of stop. I'll show this one, then we'll kind of stop and go to the
not?
markets here. But this one was kind of interesting
I
as well.
believe the
from
commission
Patrick
must
Henry.
vote in order to produce non-public information to this committee. Do you not?
Under the Exchange Act, I do believe that the
Okay.
commission needs
So,
that vote.
have you scheduled a vote necessary to provide the non-public documents to this committee?
We, I think, have been working with your staff and believe in oversight of this committee, we've provided somewhere over 40,000 pages
Yes,
of
nothing,
documents.
as I said in my opening statement, nothing that was non-public did you provide. In fact, you produced one of the letters that we wrote to you as responsive documents. It showed the absurdity of it. So the General Counsel's office has indicated to my staff that after a 10-week review process, these documents are ready to be transmitted. It just needs a vote. When do you intend to schedule that vote?
We continue to work with you and your staff. We've had, the commission has approved that some senior staff will be taking transcribed interviews, I think, with your staff, and we.
But that is not responsive to my document requests. This should
So what Chairman McHenry is saying here, we asked you for documents. We've asked you for documents that are not made available publicly, and you just keep gaslighting us, and you keep pushing this thing back, and you're not giving us an answer. You're saying you got to have a vote, but you're not having a vote. And so as I was listening and watching this thing from 7 in the morning here, my time, I started to realize maybe it's more of who Gary Gensler is versus his disdain for cryptocurrency. I do think it's a mixture of both. But as this hearing continue to go on, you continue to hear several House of Representative members state the fact that they've been trying to get information from Gary Gensler and the SEC, but they keep getting the runaround, just like our industry keeps getting the runaround. And so Warren Davidson said it, which we'll show the clip later. We're going to take a break from Gary Gensler here in a second, where he said, we have two problems, a Gary Gensler problem, and then he said something else. And so, but again, we'll get to that here in a little bit. I do want to move on to the crypto markets. And today's market segment is brought to you by channel sponsor, iTrust Capital. If you want to hodl your cryptocurrency, precious metals, and you want to save for retirement, and you don't want to pay any income tax when you do pull those gains and enjoy them in retirement, there's one company to go with, and that is iTrust Capital. Use the link in our description. You'll receive a free $100 once you fund your account. Taking a look at the crypto markets and what is going on. Well, here we have, let me refresh this page for you, my friends. Bitcoin, shocker. Flat, down 3% on the 7-day. Sitting in at $26,199 total crypto market cap is sitting at barely over 1 trillion. Bitcoin dominance, same 48.9, ETH dominance 18.3. Volume, though, is ticking up 25% at $27.4 billion. Forrest, we didn't look at a Bitcoin chart yesterday. Can we take a look at a Bitcoin chart today? I know we talk about, it's kind of trending sideways. Do you pay, when this happens as a trader, do you go down to the 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute time frames, or do you still keep a more intermediate outlook as far as what time frames you're checking the price and structure of Bitcoin?
Yeah, I mean, I keep a more intermediate time frame. Right now, this is not very tradable right now, to be quite honest. Now, there are some moves back here. Excuse me, there were some moves back here, right, when we were, ranging in between these levels and holding these support and resistance levels, where this was a little bit more tradable, right? We front ran a bunch of resistance, made a lower high. We came back down to our key, 26.065 level. But really, we haven't seen anything concrete here. We've just seen some random kind of call them scam pumps, where you pump and then you get a full retrace. The probably market makers doing things, liquidating, traders, some manipulation going on. Like I said, I've made the joke multiple times that, the price dial, the algorithm is set to 26K. I don't foresee us departing, too far in either direction from 26K until we get some more concrete evidence or some more concrete reasons to bid or reasons to sell. You could make the argument that maybe we've been given a reason to sell by the Bitcoin, the denial of those Bitcoin ETFs, or the delay of a couple of those Bitcoin ETFs. But now we're kind of getting information that's contrary to that, where there may be a stronger chance that these ETFs on October 16th get approved because of how much pressure Gary Gensler is under to approve them. So, not a whole lot going on here for Bitcoin. My thesis is still the same: is that we'd see kind of suppressed price action in September, which is exactly what we've gotten. Since mid-September, we've just been kind of bleeding off from the September open. If I can find it here, September open was around here. We are literally flat. We are flat for the entire month of September. We dipped a little, we pumped a little, and we've come right back down to where we were around 26K. So September's been a flat month. It's expected to, we talked about if there's any month to be just completely on the sidelines for, both when it comes to stocks and crypto, it's September. Now, historically, October, November, December, much stronger months. We are moving into a Bitcoin ETF decision. I do think we'll get some speculation on that, unless, of course, Gary Gensler and company decide to delay those early. So I think another date to pay attention to is going to be probably Friday, right? I don't imagine it'll happen on Saturday, but this Friday, we probably want to be paying attention. Why? Because that would be the last day before this potential government shutdown. We want to be paying attention to any sort of resolution that prevents a government shutdown. We also want to be paying attention to any decisions that the SEC tries to push through before any potential government shutdown regarding the ETFs that are over here on October 15th and 16th. But yeah, very choppy, very boring markets. Even looking at Solana's looking rough, bleeding downwards. One of the stronger performers right now is Chainlink in a nice solid uptrend. But aside from that, it's been really choppy waters, very difficult trading unless you're trading a few specific charts, maybe Bitcoin Cash, an interesting one to be paying attention to, up 6% today, showing some strength. But other than that, just nothing too crazy happening in the crypto markets. And I think we're just kind of at a choppy standstill until we get answers on the Bitcoin ETFs, especially when you've got the S&P 500. I'll take a brief peek over here. Just absolutely tanking this week, right? Since Monday, September 18th, really, for the last 2 weeks or so, we're down 5% in the last, 10 trading days or so. So, just rough, choppy waters to be trading this.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Forrest. I do want to give a shout out to Jay Coach, $5 super chat, said, great content. I'm new to crypto. Should I put more than 25% of my portfolio in cash? But we don't do financial advice here, my friend. But I would like to welcome you. Welcome not only to our community, but to our space. Our community is extremely knowledgeable. They're very friendly. So feel free, my friend, have conversations in the chat. If you have any questions on anything, let us know. If we can answer for you, we will. If not, someone from our community will. And so that is how we're growing the space together as a community. And so we're excited to have you. So welcome, my friend, and thank you so much for the support. All right, let's take a look at where the rest of the markets are. We have ETH still sitting under $1,600 at $1,592. Tether holding strong, 99.99 cents. That market cap has ballooned to over $80 billion. USDC was catching up. USDC was around 52. Tether was down to like 58 or 60. And then, Silicon Valley Bank happened. And Tether took back majority of the market share from USDC. And so they are continuing to be the leader. XRP still at 50 cents. Cardano 24 cents. Doge 6 cents. Solana and Tron rounding out the top 10. Real quick, Forrest. What are your thoughts on Tron? We never talk about Tron. We never see. Go ahead.
Yeah. So if I can find Tron here on my screen, I'll share my screen. It's got one of the we've kind of identified it, over the last couple of live streams I've done as one of the stronger looking charts. Give me a second here where it should be on my watch list. I'll just type it in manually. Go to Tron USDT on Binance. And we'll go to, let's call it the daily chart, and we'll go to a logarithmic. There we go. So Tron has, so to give you guys a point of reference, this was the bottom of the S&P 500 and a bottom on a lot of crypto charts back in November, around the midterm election of 2022. and we made a bottom. And even when we were making this bottom, we were just testing some really strong horizontal support. We weren't necessarily making, I mean, technically it was a new low, but it was barely a new low. You just had this really strong horizontal support. And this was dating back to the June slump or the summer slump, where this was, to give you a Bitcoin frame of reference. This was when Bitcoin mining was banned by China. We went from 65 or 65K, I think, Bitcoin, all the way down to like 28K. Right. So we actually, when Bitcoin slid from 28K, went up to a new high. Tron didn't make a new high, but Tron also didn't come down. When Bitcoin came down to 15, 16K, Tron held its prior lows, right? And Tron is heavily involved with Binance. Justin Sun and CZ, have somewhat of a relationship.
Forrest, I got to stop you, Forrest.
Yep.
It's
go ahead.
when you refer to Justin, it's His Excellency Justin Sun. Go ahead, please.
Oh, His Excellency Justin Sun. Yes. So for those who haven't been around in crypto a while, Justin Sun is a ultra wealthy. I believe he's from China. Ultra wealthy man from China who launched Tron not long after. And I don't know if this dates all the way back. Yeah, I don't think this dates all the way back.
And Forrest,
can I
just real quick give some context? Justin Sun was call it an apprentice of Jack Ma, who is the founder of Alibaba, one of the richest people in all of China. And so Justin Sun's got a lot of connections. He's got a lot of money. He's young, His Excellency, but his foray into crypto has been marred with a lot of disdain. So sorry, I know I keep interrupting, but I did want to give a little bit of context there as far as his background and the importance of his stature in our space.
Yeah, absolutely. He's known as, just a mega whale in the crypto space. Tron went on a crazy run in the last final month of the last market cycle. Peaked in January of 2018, around when Ethereum peaked. Just an absolutely, I mean, this was on par with, there's probably 3 runs that stand out in crypto. One being Tron, one being XRP when, in the early days of XRP, and the third probably being Nano, which went from like 17 cents to like $50. As far as, the coins that have just exploded in a very short period of time. You can see the long-term trend line for Tron is still very much intact. Whether or not that's by design or not is, to be seen. But even if you go to DeFi Llama, it's like, I don't know anyone who regularly uses the Tron network. But if you go to, the largest chains by TVL, you've got Ethereum sitting here at 21 billion, and then you've got Tron sitting here at 6 billion. And then the next highest one is 2.83 billion with Binance Smart Chain. We know how much money Binance has, right? And then you get, Arbitrum at 1.6 billion, right? But Tron has 6.5 billion total value locked. Now, a lot of this is rumored and somewhat confirmed to be Justin Sun's personal wealth. This guy is worth a lot of money. Look, this may be a heavily manipulated coin, but it has a very strong chart, and it is now, it's a top 10 cryptocurrency now. So it's worth paying attention to for sure.
I want to know what the chat thinks. What are your thoughts on Tron? Are you an investor? Would you invest in Tron? Put a 1 for yes, put a 2 for no. So would you or are you invested in Tron? 1 yes, 2 no. Let us know. I see a lot of open up the clubs. We will open up the club at 185 likes. So if you want to see me and my boy Forrest dance moves, which I'm sure he's got better ones than I do, make sure to hit the like button. Also, a couple of new names in here I want to give a shout out to. Crypto Master Candle Daddy. It's a cool name. I like that, Candle Daddy. T-Shroom is in the house. Alex O Crypto is also in the house. So shout out to you guys. Who else is there? I saw a couple other names in here that I have not seen before. Alex Green. I'm sure you've been here before, but I haven't seen your name, my friend, in a while. So to all of you, hola! I know I saw a lot of comments. People miss Rob Zola. Maybe I'll get him to record an hola here the next couple of days and play it on the stream. Who knows? Maybe. Maybe just have to wait for him to come back. All right. Let's take a look at just finishing up with the markets here on the crypto bubbles. A few in the green on the daily. Chainlink, Bitcoin Cash, Compound, MakerDAO, and Synthetics. They're all up. Hex is down 5%. Formerly known as Elrond, now known as Multiverse X, potentially the worst. What kind of transition was that, man? That was terrible. Elrond to Multiverse X, bad move there, and their token is down 3.1%. And then Quant is up 2.4%. We're not going to look at a chart because I want to keep this thing going, but I was potentially going to enter into a long trade on Quant. Broke to under 88 bucks. But I didn't see anything that really stood out on the chart, so I decided to forego it. I really wanted to, but maybe I should have. Who knows? All right, let's move on to this piece of massive news. This is tweeted from Mason vs. Lewis. I hope I'm saying that last name right. This is huge for Stellar Lumens. MoneyGram is launching its own non-custodial digital wallet built on Stellar. This is a quote. Wallet users will be able to visit any participating MoneyGram location to cash out their digital assets to increase the utility of their holdings. This is a graphic here built on Stellar, powered by MoneyGram, a non-custodial wallet. A lot of people don't know what MoneyGram is. I've never used MoneyGram, and I had to do a little research. And guys, we might not know what it is, but it's in over 200 countries with a global network of about 347,000 offices. 350,000 offices where you can now go in and exchange your cryptocurrency. Forrest, how big of a deal is this? We don't really talk about Stellar Lumens a lot. They're not in the news a lot, but this is pretty big news. What's your knee-jerk reaction? Do you know anything about this? And kind of share your thoughts.
Yeah, so if I'm not mistaken, MoneyGram is kind of like a Western Union. So let's say, I wanted to send money to family in, another country, let's say somewhere in the UK or any country. I could go to a MoneyGram station in the US here. I think there's a lot of them in Walmarts, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. I give them, $500. They basically wire it over to a MoneyGram location where it can be picked up, minus some pretty hefty fees to my family member in whatever country I'm sending it to. So it's a way to do kind of cross-border remittances, cross-border payments, and XLM and a number of other blockchain technologies are just much better at orchestrating this at a much lower cost. So this is. I view this as inevitable, right? Either they have to. You look at Visa, you look at MasterCard. They're getting into payment processing with crypto. You now look at MoneyGram. If these companies that are doing payments and remittances don't adopt the faster technology and the better technology, they're just going to be replaced by competitors that are going to enter and copy the same business model, but be able to do it at a fraction of the cost. So this is a big deal. This is really strong, great technology being adopted by incumbents in the industry because it makes these transactions significantly less expensive to do at scale.
Forrest, if you had to, because Stellar and XRP, they have I believe it was Jed McCaleb who was originally with XRP, went and founded Stellar Lumens. And guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's who it was. And so there's always been a tie with XRP and XLM. If you had to put your eggs into one of these baskets, right, who is going to be the leader in these borderless remittance payments, payment rails, central bank, CBDC? Where would you lay your probabilities? Would you think you're leaning more XRP or more XLM? Not from an investing standpoint, but who's going to win out in this race?
So I think they're competing in separate markets. Again, it's difficult to know for sure, but same use case, different markets. So if I'm not mistaken, XRP is going predominantly for the enterprise and banking cross-border payments and remittances markets, whereas XLM is, I think they can be used. They can both be used for each use case or each market. The technology can be applied to either. But as far as like a marketing standpoint and partnerships standpoint, I believe XLM, rather than going after the banking and enterprise use cases like XRP is, they're focusing more on the peer-to-peer, the individual customers sending money. So me sending money to a family member versus JP Morgan sending money to, Deutsche Bank, so to speak.
Okay. That's fair. If you kind of, okay, let me ask you this question. Let's just play along here. If you had to pick one, right, if you want exposure to remittance, global remittance payments, are you going with XRP or are you going with XLM?
Probably. Yeah, but you're cornering me. Yeah, XLM, and the reason being is because at the end of the day, I don't think you're going to go like if one is successful, then the other is going to be successful. They are highly correlated assets. When XRP pumps, so does XLM. So you could be like, well, XRP is going to win the market, and XRP is going to do 5x from where it's at right now, 10x, whatever your target is for XRP. Okay, well, in that scenario, if XRP wins, just because of the correlated nature of the market, XLM is also going to pump to some degree, even if they don't grab as much market share. But on the flip side of that, XLM is a lower market cap and does have a very large addressable market in terms of the use case they're going after. And if XLM quote unquote wins the market and sees faster growth than XRP, there's a kind of a higher multiple that is more easily achievable by XLM. So I think for that reason, just knowing that, hey, like even if XLM doesn't quote unquote win, they're still going to pump if XRP pumps. You can kind of, you kind of view it like that and be fine with XLM, which is a little bit of a lower cap play. But you can make the argument for XRP too.
Yeah, I would lean more towards XRP only because I feel like if you conquer one and, you laid out XRP is more on the banking institution side, XLM is more peer-to-peer. I'll make the argument that once you conquer what XRP is doing, you can travel down to the peer-to-peer versus being harder to go from peer-to-peer and then get these institutions and banking to come in and start using your blockchain. And just from a standpoint of fundamentals and tokenomics, you have XRP, which has a fully diluted market cap of $50.3 billion with little shy of $100 billion in total supply with 53% currently circulating. When we go to Stellar XLM, you have half of the total supply and almost a little higher amount that is currently circulating. And so we understand that they both serve a purpose. For me, obviously, like Forrest mentioned with Visa, MasterCard payments, it's a no-brainer. Faster, cheaper. And so the likes of Visa, MasterCard, they see this. They understand. Like, they make their money off of processing fees that they charge the merchant. And so for them, it's like, hey, this new form of payment is here. If we don't get along with it, we're going to be made, we're essentially going to get cast to the side and not be able to capitalize and make money. They understand that. And so from our standpoint, from a just to make money perspective, it would be smart to have exposure to both. Of course, I'm not saying that you should go out and buy these tokens. I'm just saying if payment remittance is at the top of your list of what blockchain and crypto can disrupt, why just handicap yourself to just Amazon? Who knows who's going to win the race? Is it Amazon? Is it Target? Is it Walmart? You can have exposure to all three, and I think you'll be putting yourself in a good position. What do you guys think? I want to ask the chat the same question. XRP or XLM? If you had to put all your eggs in one basket, which basket would that be? If you're a member of the channel, well, no, because we don't have an XLM emoji. Put a 1 for XRP, put a 2 for XLM. Let us know what you guys think. Also, again, if you're new here, say hello. And to welcome you, I want to give a shout out to Toby Chapman, who said XRP is the king. I know we have a lot of XRP fans out here. The communities are not even equal, right? XRP community is way bigger, way louder than the XLM community. But hey, again, they both serve a purpose, an important purpose, I might add. Now, Let's check in on Gary. And Tom Emmer is my hero, man. So we tweeted this. Tom Emmer putting Gary Gensler on blast. Name me another member of Congress that is fighting for us as hard as Representative Emmer. And let's hear this masterclass of Mr. Emmer. Getting a lot of ones, by the way. Gary Gensler said 3, as in they're both securities.
But given your 18-year career at one of the biggest banks in the world and the personal financial fortune you amassed there, do you think it's possible for you to serve as an impartial regulator and not favor large financial intermediaries?
Absolutely, sir.
Well, Mr. Gensler, do you believe the vast majority of digital assets meet the investment contract test and are therefore securities operating illegally outside of the U.S. regulatory umbrella?
As I've said, many of these assets are basically the public is anticipating
Sir, is
profits
that a yes?
based on the efforts of others.
Is the answer then yes?
Again, without prejudging anyone, I do think that the significant
Reclaiming my
majority
time.
are
I'll take it as a
investment
yes.
contracts.
And to be clear, sir, this perspective has nothing to do with a concern you noted in a speech last year where you said, quote, over the past year, several bank executives have shared their concerns with me about the sheer number of depositors who have moved money from their bank accounts into crypto-related exchanges and wallets, end quote. Right?
The concern that those bank executives raised was that there's...
Again,
This is very important, okay? I'm going to rewind it. I want you to pay attention to this question from Tom Emmer, okay? Really pay attention to what he's asking, and then listen to what Gary Gensler says.
Bank accounts into crypto-related exchanges have shared their concerns with me about the sheer number of depositors who have moved money from their bank accounts into crypto-related exchanges and wallets, end quote. Right?
The concern that those bank executives raised was that there's...
Again, I'm reclaiming my time,
customers
sir.
were getting hurt.
I've asked you to answer the questions as short as I can so I can use the time I have, and it's clear that you would like to avoid answering the questions, in my opinion. An Obama-appointed judge in the Southern District of New York, a bank-friendly jurisdiction where you bring most of your cases, recently found that decentralized financial technology, quote, not only removes the so-called middlemen from these transactions, but it also allows users to interact through a variety of methods in an easy and efficient manner, end quote. The court also said underwriters, like the ones at banks where you work, sir, are, quote, precisely the types of individual roles that decentralized exchanges were designed to eliminate, end quote. Mr. Gensler, can you assure this committee that your style of regulation by harassment towards digital asset innovation is to the benefit of every American and not driven by your desires to protect industry incumbents?
This is a field that's rife with fraud and manipulation, and I'm looking out for the American investors who've been hurt by the crypto.
Yeah. I'll reclaim my
fraudsters
time.
and
Mr.
scammers.
Gensler, despite your years of rhetoric, like today, I'm convinced you are not an impartial regulator. Instead, it's clear that you are working to consolidate your own power, even though it means crushing opportunities for everyday Americans and, frankly, the financial future of this country. Even the federal courts are highlighting the damage you, sir, are doing to our constituents, and they're telling you that you don't have the legal authority to accomplish your goal of squashing competition in the financial markets. Congress has been telling you that too. Now, Mr. Gensler, I believe our great financial system is the definition of freedom in this country. And congressional policies must provide room for the traditional financial system to evolve alongside the disruptive digital asset ecosystem. That said, it cannot be understated that a common theme throughout your career, sir, is your relentless loyalty to the largest financial institutions at the clear expense of innovation, competition, and everyday Americans. I yield back.
Bang.
I suspect.
So what Emmer is essentially saying is these bank executives came to you last year and said, we're worried about the amount of money that is leaving our system, the banking system, and going into crypto. Boris, what are your thoughts on what Mr. Emmer said? Do you believe that is what's happening? Is he servicing the incumbents, right? The people that were here first, the banks, the TradFi companies, the Morgan Stanleys, the Goldman Sachses?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're not going to see the banks come out in support of crypto until they get in on the trade too. So, obviously you've got, like BlackRock getting in on the trade through this Bitcoin ETF. But you have people like J.P. Morgan coming out and banning crypto. He's saying your account will suspend your account if you start moving. That will, in 2 to 3 years, maybe less time than that, that'll be reversed. They're going to get into they'll build some crypto infrastructure, some quote unquote DeFi-esque infrastructure. Maybe it'll be something along like what Coinbase does with Base Chain, which is really centralized and owned by Coinbase. But you can do DeFi, quote unquote, on Base Chain. But I think one of the best things people can go do is and this is going to seem kind of weird, but go watch The Big Short if you really want to understand like how these banks operate to some degree.
Great movie.
For those who don't know, The Big Short was about the financial collapse of 2007, 2008. I think it's on Netflix now. You can go watch it there. But Michael Burry bought all these credit swaps that were supposed to pay him billion. I think it was north of $1 billion, but millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, north of $1 billion. Should the real estate market collapse? Well, the real estate market collapsed, and the banks would not. They were still marking his credit swaps that should be worth over $1 billion. They were not increasing the price of them. They were not showing the true value of them. And the reason that they wouldn't mark them up to the according price that they were actually valued at, despite the real estate market collapsing, was that the banks had not cleared their books yet. Right? They had not gotten aligned with the trade. And once they got aligned with the trade of the real estate market collapsing and they had secured positions to appropriately hedge, then they give Michael Burry a call and they say, hey, we're just giving you a notice that we've changed the marking of your credit swaps. And then he could finally cash out. It's a rigged game. It is not a fair game. So you look at the banks and what the SEC is doing, it's just very clear that they are delaying as long as possible for these large banks like JP Morgan Chase, so on, and Wells Fargo, all these banks, right, that are bleeding money to the crypto space, right? Despite it being a bear market, this is still a concern for them. Right, all this money that's being bled, until they can come up with a strategy to hedge against this opportunity and profit from this opportunity. Once they have a strategy in place, you will see adoption come from the banks, but no sooner. And it'll be like the snap of a finger. Once they've got that strategy in place, they will mark the positions. They will say, all right, let's bring it on crypto. Let's go Bitcoin. Let's go Ethereum. Let's go Solana. Whatever it is, let's go Chainlink. Once they have their positions secured, it's they'll be all in on crypto. They'll be all about it. But I think this is a really good example of what either using the SEC, using Gary Gensler to delay and fight against DeFi and other crypto solutions until they can get in on it too. I think it's just incredibly obvious right now what's happening.
Guys, just be patient, okay? Once they pack their bags, guys, we're gonna be okay. Okay. Again, this is the first time we're able to front run traditional finance and these large hedge funds and essentially banks. And here we are. And I kind of tend to agree with Forrest. Give us some time. Give us some time, and then when we're ready, we'll let you know. That is what the banks and the institutions are telling Gary. Now, to me, this from Representative Richie Torres, who is a Democrat from New York. Listen to how he compared Pokemon cards with Gary Gensler. So let's take a listen.
Can I ask? Suppose I were to purchase a Pokemon card. Would doing so constitute a security transaction?
You could purchase a Pokemon card. I don't know what the context is, but if you're just purchasing a Pokemon card.
If I purchase a Pokemon card, is that a security transaction?
Store, that's not a security.
Okay. If I were to purchase a tokenized Pokemon card on a digital exchange via a blockchain, is that a security transaction?
I'd have to know more.
Okay. So for you, the process of tokenization is what transforms a non-security transaction into a security transaction?
Look. If the investing
I thought you were technology neutral.
If the investing public is anticipating profits based upon the efforts of others and they're exchanging funds,
Can I ask? Suppose I would have purchased.
So Gary Gensler and the SEC continue to say, we are technology. What was the word he used? Technology neutral. We're technology neutral. Okay. We don't care about the tech. It's the underlying asset, what people are doing, what they're expecting profit. So by what Richie Torres did is he gave an example of a physical Pokemon card, to which Gary said that's not a security. And then he's like, well, what if I tokenize it, the same thing, and just put it on a blockchain? It all comes down to a ledger. It's a public ledger. Who owns it? Who owns it now? Is it real? Is it fake? That's all we're doing. There is no token. There's no Pokemon token attached to it. There's no airdrops. I'm literally taking my Charizard card and I'm putting it on the blockchain. That's it. And now he's saying, well, I would need more information. And so we're starting to see where Gary draws the line. And Robert Vermouth put technology neutral in quotes. That's exactly what Representative Torres is saying is, I guess it comes down to tokenizing it. Well, if that's the case, then everything on planet Earth is a security. Gold ETFs should be securities. It's complete. It's a joke. Forrest, any thoughts on what Representative Torres said and kind of the lines he was drawing and how he was trying to connect the dots for hopefully Gary to see how asinine his rulemaking is?
Yeah, I mean, this is where the Howey test is stupid. I personally am not a big fan of the Howey test as like the leading, like the fact that we use this like one test to determine whether or not something's a security is just silly because, okay, let's walk through that example. The Howey test is basically saying, well, if you buy something with the expectation that others are going to make it more valuable, right? The work of, you're going to benefit from the work of others. Okay, let's say I buy a Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback for Miami Dolphins, right? Who is the quarterback for Alabama. Well, let's say I buy a rookie card this year, and with the expectation of making profit if the NFL and if Tua has a good career and the NFL promote him a lot. Like if the NFL promotes any specific player above any other player, then of course their cards are going to be worth more. Same thing with Pokemon. If I buy a rare Pokemon card and Pokemon, the company or Nintendo, or whoever owns Pokemon, releases content specific to that card, of course you're profiting off of the expectation of others' work. And this is where the Howey test just gets very hairy and just stops making sense. And I just don't think it's a great, I've been saying this for a while. Like the fact that we're still using this old Howey test, like it's bizarre. Why don't we have up-to-date regulations specific to digital assets, specific to collectibles, specific to cryptocurrencies? It's not that difficult to go through and look at all these different consensus mechanisms and say, well, this is exactly, you need to qualify. You need to have more than 50% decentralization. You need to have at least 150 validators running in, this many different geographical locations. You can quantify this. This is all stuff that is extreme, like decentralization. Yes, there's a spectrum, but it is quantifiable. And if something meets a certain decentralization, threshold, it should just, have very clear regulation around it. But the fact that they just want to lean on this like old Howey test for stuff, it just makes no sense. It's just, it gives them the ability to just make judgment calls and gray area calls and, end up, manipulating, things to their benefit and to their end goals.
In 1933, Congress painted with a broad brush. That's all he says. In 1933, yeah. We didn't have brushes to paint with, and now we do. You get the point. It's the dumbest argument ever. And then finally from Gary Gensler, this last one I want to show here. Again, I mentioned I personally are seeing more and more people who are asking crypto questions that I haven't seen before. And this is one of them, Representative Nickel. I don't even know what state he represents. And just listen to this 1-minute exchange with Gary Gensler.
Urging you to approve the listing of spot Bitcoin ETPs after your recent loss in court to Grayscale. Now that the SEC has the court's decision in hand, rejecting your rationale for denial, does the SEC plan to approve the current pending spot Bitcoin ETF applications?
Thank you for your letter. I did read it last night. Again, we're still taking this under advisement. It's a recent court action, and staff and commissioners will take it up as appropriate.
The court concluded that the SEC's denial of Grayscale lacked, quote, a coherent explanation and then, quote unquote, falls short of the standard for reasoned decision-making, and then was, quote unquote, arbitrary and capricious. How do you explain the SEC's actions there?
We do that which we do under the law as best we can. Sometimes things go into court. We're still considering that court decision. I think it was a district court. I'm sorry, it was appellate court. It was appellate court, but we're still considering that appellate court decision. And I don't want to get ahead of the staff or my fellow commissioners.
Remember, this was also the same Gary Gensler that was asked in an interview with what the judge says. Do you take it in? Well, I forget the exact wording, but do you take it into consideration, or do you take what they say, like as truth? And he goes, well, not really. So this is the same guy. Keep that in mind.
How do you just consider the court's decision? We're considering the court, isn't what the court says the final?
Well, there's appeals. There's appeals you can file, but yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, it seems bizarre if a court rules something that the SEC has the power to just say, "Oh, we'll consider it." That's so bizarre.
He's a rogue regulator.
It's like if I get convicted for murder, I'll consider that. I'll consider going to jail. You can't do that. I'll think about it. I don't know.
I'll get back to you in 214 days. That is how long I need to review this application and take a vote by my 5 commissioners. All right. Guys, do want to give a couple last shout-outs. Channel sponsors, CAMS, Blue Wire Technology. If you want to learn how they can help your business, visit bluewiretech.com. Also, big thank you to Radix, the top layer 1 DeFi, who also sponsors this channel. So if you want to learn more about them, go ahead and visit their website. It is in the description of this video. Go follow us on Twitter. We're at CincyToCrypto1. Also, go follow our friend Forrest on Twitter. He is at Sistine Research. Also, if you want more Forrest, there's a link to his YouTube channel in the chat. So make sure to go subscribe. Forrest, anything on your mind before we sign off here?
No, I think, look, guys, it's kind of crunch time. It's a pivotal point, both for the S&P 500. You're sitting on a major trend line support, sitting on the 21-week simple moving average. You see Bitcoin chopping around. We could absolutely see a major breakdown from here in the S&P 500 and in the crypto markets, or we could see a bottom and a rally and a bounce. It's just a matter of how this plays out. How a lot of things play out, the government shutdown, the Bitcoin spot ETFs, and what oil prices do. There's so many variables. If you're in crypto, we are in the home stretch. I think we're 6 to 9 months out from a pretty strong bull market. Just stay the course, be patient, and keep tuning into Sin City Crypto.
Amen to that, and amen to this. This one finger here.
Yeah?
Holds the power.
I'm going to consider about it. I'm going to think about it.
Think about this. Rocco! Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Big thank you to Forrest again for joining us. Make sure to come back tomorrow. Same place, same time. On behalf of all of us here at Sin City Crypto, we love you guys. Until tomorrow.
Sin City Crypto. Everybody know what we here for. Entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in. For big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Named according to your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy the dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't